Hi, it's me. I just got to the Starbucks about a couple minutes ago, and I'm sitting at one of the corner tables inside. So anyway, so I'm here. I will see you in a bit. Okay, bye.
Alana,
Yes.
Jaylo.
Yes.
It is around 11:31 in the afternoon.
The morning.
The morning.
It's not afternoon yet.
On June 5th.
Yes.
Which would have been my grandfather's birthday.
Oh, is it?
He would have turned 86 today.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got here this morning.
Yes.
Went to your couch, pulled out my phone, started recording. We're having a conversation for a couple hours. And then I go to kiss you. You're like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's my phone. I'm recording this." And you freaked out a little bit.
I did. You never said anything. You never said, "Oh, by the way, babes, I'm going to record this." I didn't even think about asking because we usually don't record our conversations in the living room anyway.
Yes.
So,
I was under the impression. Now, this was my mistake. So it's clear that we had an agreement to where you were going to ask me if I was recording something, and then I would be obligated to say yes. But we cleared it up, and going forward, I am going to tell you when I start recording.
Either that, unless I ask.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And we made that agreement, and that will not happen again.
I've been getting into it a lot in the last couple months.
Yeah.
And this morning I made the observation to you, I hope I'm not becoming one of those weird blind guys who's like super in recording, and you said you kind of are.
To which I replied, yes, I think you kind of are now. Oh. But I don't think you're going to go like super crazy with it, although I think that having private conversations archived with me in it is kind of weird. I do. I really do. I think it's kind of strange.
I'm also don't want to become like the dad from that movie Unstrung Heroes, where he tells this son, "We gotta archive this stuff." I think that's what he says.
I don't think I've seen that one.
And then it's a pretty good movie. Andy McDowell plays his wife, and she dies of cancer.
Oh.
And he gets freaked out because the son is at the funeral with a video camera, even though before she died, he was all into that type of stuff.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So he was telling the son to archive everything?
I believe so. No, it's been years since I've seen the movie, but I think he said something like that to his son.
This is before we knew about what real archiving was, right?
We had an idea, but the movie's based in the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
I think we might have talked about it here before.
When did it come out?
1994.
Oh.
The best year in film, in my opinion.
I would say that was one of them, yes.
Because, let's look at the movies that came out that year.
Yeah.
We had, that's not my favorite movie. It's one that you love, The Lion King.
Yes, a good one.
Forrest Gump.
Yes.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
Barcelona.
Oh, wow, really?
What else came out that year? A bunch of movies came out that year.
The Brady Bunch movies?
No, those came out a little bit later.
Did they?
Yep. Ace Ventura came out that year.
Okay.
The Mask came out that year.
The Mask came out that year, yep.
Obviously, Dumb and Dumber was released then.
Yes, yes.
Speechless came out that year, which is a really good movie.
I never saw that one. But...
we've talked about it before. It's the one with Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, and Christopher Reeve. It's really good.
Oh, okay. Is that before or after he got into that accident?
This was like 6 months before he got into the accident.
Oh, wow.
Like even that.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was, and there's many others that I just can't think of right now off the top of my head. Star Trek Generations came out that year, which is pretty good. It's
Star Trek Generations, the movies?
Yeah, the movie.
Okay, the movie.
It's better than people give it credit for.
Okay.
That's the one that's known because it's the one where Captain Kirk died.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
didn't see that one.
Yeah, and usually I could think of more movies that came out that year.
Naked...
Sorry, go ahead.
Naked Gun, did that come out that year or was it 93?
33 and a third may have come out that year.
I didn't see that one, but of course it took a while for me to see the first two, but
yes.
You said that wasn't that great though.
It's not my favorite.
It was okay, but it wasn't epic or anything.
It wasn't epic. I think Clerks came out in 94 if I'm remembering right.
Oh.
Pulp Fiction came out that year.
Yeah.
It's just a great year.
Yes.
Research the year itself, but I'm surprised more people don't talk about the year 1994 in relation to great cinema.
Well, I would imagine that 96 is a good year too, because I remember when Waiting to Exhale came out, and that was a really good movie.
Oh, 96 is a really good year too. It's just not as good. Trainspotting came out in 96, which is really good. Mm-hmm. Bunch of other movies.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of good movies that came out in the early to late 90s.
That was just an incredible time period it was this weird mix of studio big budget movies and art house independent films.
I would agree.
And now it kind of feels like it's more just like these superhero movies that come out. And obviously I'm painting with a broad brush. It's more nuanced than that even today. Yeah. But it doesn't really feel like it. You know, but then
people haven't been going to movies for a year too. I mean, we've been getting updates on movies that we're streaming online.
True.
So, I mean, it's not actually helping the box offices.
I don't know if I'll ever go back to a movie theater.
Oh, I think you should.
But I don't know if I really need to.
I think you should.
With all the access to movies that we have now.
Yeah, but that's an excuse to be lazy, though, don't you think?
In some sense, but why would you go back to a movie theater?
Just because I haven't been there in a few years. I would. I mean, I don't get to go very often, but I would.
Maybe if a great movie was coming out, I could be swayed to go, but it would have to be something very special.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an excuse to be lazy for some, now that online things and online shopping is getting so popular, it's like nobody wants to get out and do anything anymore.
We were talking about this in the earlier recording.
After I knew it was a recording.
Right. You know, I thought I was having the other day, babes, and then we'll return to this. What if you're right and my nephew never gets into recording?
I could be.
After I die, he gets this like huge archive of my shit. And he has no interest in it whatsoever.
That's what I'm thinking. What if it's not for him and he's like into visual stuff and
that's a possibility too.
Then maybe he'll give it to his mom.
I don't know how much longer my sister's gonna live. Like not to be despairing towards her. Let me explain that statement a little bit more. Mm-hmm. My mom died in her 50s of natural causes. And she was already older than both of her parents who died of natural causes.
Was it natural causes or was it something else?
No, it was natural causes.
Didn't you say she had some kind of like a heart thing or?
That's the way we understand it is, it had to do with fluctuating blood pressure.
Yeah.
Did something to her, veins or something.
Ooh,
I forgot the exact terminology.
It did something to her veins, so the blood wasn't pumping.
That's why I say I don't know how much more longer my sister has to live. I'm sure she'll be fine and live. She'll probably outlive me.
Or maybe you'll outlive her. I don't know.
No, I think in all seriousness, there's a good chance she's going to outlive me.
Well,
but I don't want to sound like my mom.
I would make an argument against that, and I'll tell you that later because I don't want to.
Oh, you're talking about the smoking thing because she smokes cigarettes. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so you basically said it before I did.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. So you could very much outlive her, very well outlive her.
Yeah,
I'm not at any time hoping that she goes before you, but I'm just saying, I mean, if you
I would actually want my sister to outlive me because she has a kid, if that makes any sense, and I would want her to be here for her son.
Well, the first thing she's got to do is to quit the cigarettes, Bubs.
All right, we've seen this isn't. We're not turning this into.
But I'm not. We're not turning this into an anti-smoking PSA. But
no,
we both are on the same page with that.
Yes.
But anyway, go on.
Anyways, that's all I had to say. That was my sidetrack, and I can't remember what we were talking about before.
About getting out and doing stuff, going to the movies.
Oh yeah. So we were talking earlier today, and something that was really cool that you'll never hear is, I don't know if I'm going to go back to really shopping in grocery stores. I had just started kind of dipping my toe in the realm of online grocery shopping, like right before the pandemic struck us. Mm-hmm. So it was like the perfect timing for me.
Right.
I might go occasionally if it's Trader Joe's or I really need something and I'm just in the neighborhood, like right by a store.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm going to shop the same way I used to.
I think I'm gonna keep on doing the same thing. I mean, before I would shop at the grocery store all the time because sometimes when you shop online, it gets really pricey.
If you don't know how to do it.
If you don't know how to do it, and also, depending on what you're getting too, but, I'm probably going to I don't think it should deter you from going shopping because sometimes, like I made the argument, well, sometimes it's better that you go shopping in person because you get all your stuff, you check out, and you go home with everything in the cart or what have you in your bags. You don't have to worry about the time that someone's coming to get it.
Let me give you another way of looking at this from my perspective. Mm-hmm. I'm a blind guy, which plays into this.
As am I, a blind girl.
Okay.
So
I would have to let me go there.
Okay, go on.
I would have to walk to the store, and because I'm a blind guy, I don't drive. Mm-hmm. So I'd have a backpack, and maybe I'd be able to carry like one other bag inside of it.
Right.
I'd load that stuff up, and I'd have to walk home, or take the bus. But you know how I am; I'd mostly walk.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to repeat the process a couple of days later because you could only, get so much food. Mm-hmm. With online shopping, I only have to do it a week, and sometimes I'll even go 2 weeks without having to shop.
I do it every week to 2 weeks for me, yes. But have you ever thought about getting a cart?
I do have a cart.
You do?
And what I'll do now is I'll go downstairs and have the people from Walmart just put it in my cart. I didn't get a cart until right before things closed down. Mm-hmm. Maybe a month before, because again, I was experimenting with online shopping. I hear what you're saying, that I could take my cart to the store.
Exactly.
And shop that way, but then I'm dependent on the bus.
Yeah, but sometimes it's okay to get on a bus when, once in a while to go back to your place. Mm. I'm just saying, Bubs,
I would go to Trader Joe's and shop. And to be honest, it kind of frustrates me that they're against online shopping.
I don't get that either. Because what if you can't get there and the Trader Joe's is like 30 minutes away from your place? Or even close to an hour.
That's what it is with me.
Yeah, it's like, why? And it is kind of a hassle. Like if you need to go on public transportation and take, your stuff on the bus with you too. I understand that. Sometimes people don't want to do that. Mm-hmm.
It's also, they don't have to build their own shopping app. They could partner with Instacart.
I know, or any shopping app. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Instacart. It could be something else. I understand that they could still, and plus it probably would be good for them too.
Oh, I had this weird experience this week, babes.
Uh-oh.
So
was it a shopping experience?
Yes, but here's what happened. I got my COVID shot on Wednesday.
Much to my chagrin.
Right, but I did.
Much to my chagrin.
And, the last time we did this, I was kind of bragging like, oh, I feel great. Never felt better. Which was true at the time. Then I went to sleep, and the next day I woke up and I was pretty drowsy.
Yeah, and I said, are you sure you're okay? Like, well, I'm kind of drowsy, but I'm feeling fine.
I'm sure it's not the COVID shot. Spoiler alert, it was the COVID shot. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I decide it's getting close to dinner time. I'd had like a couple apples that day and some snacks. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to do some baked potatoes because I had bought some from Walmart.
Oh, right.
Like a couple of days before. Go to open the potatoes, and there's this weird smell coming from them.
Ew.
I try to touch them, and they feel very, very soft. So
yuck.
I'm like, kill this noise. I'm throwing that away.
Yuck.
I remember I thought I got some email from Uber Eats that day.
Yeah.
So I go into it and they say, okay, you've never ordered from us before. Here's a $25 coupon. Use this code.
Mm-hmm.
So I copy the code, go to make an order, having some issues. And then I get to the point where I can do the checkout, but it's not letting me enter the promo code.
Oh, that's weird.
So I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to use this if it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I open Grubhub and order from Panda Express. And I put in the directions, hey, just use the call box and I'll buzz you up here. You can put the food in front of my front door.
Yes.
Guy doesn't even bother calling the call box. So he calls me, I answer the phone, he's like, I'm from Uber Eats. I'm like, okay, just press, and I press the 9 into saying up. And he calls me back up in like a minute. And I'm like, hello? And he's like, I'm from Uber Eats. I'm waiting for you downstairs in the lobby. Oh, so now I have to go out and I know, get the food.
That's happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it's annoying. It's like, I just said, call from the call box. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But it's like, do they not know how to use it?
So the guy was a little bit of an asshole, if we're going to be honest, from my perspective. From
Uber Eats?
No, from Grubhub, because I didn't end up using Uber Eats because it wasn't set up right. So I was a little bit pissed. And I, you know how I am. I always leave good tips. Right. And they have you enter in the tip before you actually get it.
Yeah, which is kind of strange.
Had I known it was going to be like that, I wouldn't have given a tip.
Okay.
But I didn't, and so we learned.
Right.
And sometimes, so that was my online experience this week. Food shopping.
So the Uber Eats thing didn't work, and you ended up using Uber Eats instead. Is that what happened?
You just said I didn't. Uber Eats didn't work, so I ended up using Uber Eats. No, Uber Eats didn't work.
You ended up using Grubhub and the guy was
instead, and because I couldn't make the potatoes like I thought.
Yeah, yeah, that's happened to me too. Where it was very annoying. Where I got the call and it sounded like it was from the call box because you can tell.
Yeah, because the guy was in my lobby.
Right. And I, so that's happened.
Or the entrance area.
Yes. So it's happened a couple of times to where I pressed the button to let the person in, and they called me back a few minutes and I'm like, why are they taking, and I thought, okay, maybe they're taking long because they're getting on the elevator and getting up there.
Yeah.
But then they called me back and they're like, oh, I'm downstairs. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go and get it. So it's kind of annoying. I'm like, do you not know how to use a call box?
Yeah.
It's already in the call box.
And I put it in the description
yes.
of the order too.
Yes, I've said, I was very, and you know that I've done this too, where I've said, this is a call apartment number unknown.
Exactly.
And, because I'm not going to put it in there.
No.
Call apartment number unknown, and I will buzz you in, leave food in front of unit.
Yes.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
And most people get it, but some people don't, and I'm like,
I'll put
why?
I'll put in my number, my apartment number, and I'll also put in my last name.
Yes.
Just so they'll be able to
absolutely,
check
it. Yeah. So usually I don't have any problems with it, but there's like a couple times where I'm like, oh, stupid.
Yeah, I think I'm done getting restaurant deliveries for a while because 1, it's more expensive. 2, I can easily make food. And 3, I've noticed that the people who do restaurant deliveries are sometimes a little bit off in the head.
I don't know if they're off in the head. They just don't know how to take directions correctly.
I would consider that to be. You're either being an asshole or you don't know what you're doing.
Oh my goodness.
But that's just my opinion there, Jaylo.
Yeah,
I just feel
you're
better.
very impatient.
What? They are.
No, you are.
Am I?
Well, you kind of are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess in some ways I'm a little bit, because sometimes the people that do come to my place, the English is not their first language too. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have to be like, well, I don't know. Maybe they just don't get English. And then there's some that do speak English that are good, but there are some that don't. And I'm just like, Yes. Yeah.
I did feel better after the Panda Express, although I was pretty out of it on Thursday in general.
Yes.
And then I went to bed Thursday night, and I had these really awful night sweats. Like, I woke up about a half hour after I went to sleep, if even that, and my body, sheets, blanket, and pillowcase are drenched in sweat.
Oh, boy.
Which I'm assuming is because of the COVID shot.
And I said, that's not normal. You should not be getting night sweats.
Right, but you also don't get a COVID shot every day.
That's what I mean. That's not normal.
Yes. And then Jay was like, well, I don't know if I should have you over. Okay. Well, we had talked about it the day before, and because I was drowsy, you were concerned about having me over.
I was.
Yes.
Because I said, look, if you even feel the slightest bit drowsy, or if you have like a sore throat, or if you're having body aches, I'm going to insist that you stay home. Because I don't want you to be sick while you're here, and I also don't want to get sick too.
Yes. Although, after I had the night sweats, I went back to sleep. So we should say, Wednesday going into Thursday, I slept for 7 hours straight, and when I woke up, I didn't hurt at all. Like, my arm felt a little bit sore from the shot, but I was very drowsy that day, even though I had 7 hours without waking up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Thursday into Friday, I have the night sweats, about a half hour into sleeping, wake up, go back to sleep for 5 hours.
You never told me I had night sweats again.
No. I only had them the one night. Thursday going into Friday.
Okay, Thursday going into Friday.
I didn't come over on Friday because I was feeling really drowsy.
Oh, that's right. Sure. Yes.
And so Thursday going into Friday, after I have the night sweats, I go back to sleep and I'm out for maybe 5 hours. And when I woke up yesterday morning, I felt completely refreshed.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
It's very good.
A lot of people have more extreme side effects from the shot.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about body aches, and you told me about somebody having 100-degree fever.
What had happened was, we like to go into this cooking room, and there's a regular who usually shows up and participates.
Yes.
I was in the room yesterday, alone, without Jaylo, is what I mean. One of the other hosts comes on and says, so-and-so was planning to join us today, but he had 100-degree fever, and he just got his COVID shot yesterday, so he's not going to be here.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Jaylo.
That's right.
That's right, Jaylo.
Yes.
But overall, I'm glad I got the shot. Now, you told me that you told your mother that I got the shot.
Yeah, and I really didn't want to. Because I wasn't sure what her reaction was going to be.
But she asked you.
She did. I wasn't going to lie.
How did it come up in conversation?
She just asked me.
So there's no lead up to it?
No, because I told her about what you were thinking about us doing next week.
Yeah.
With her, going somewhere, and she said that she'd like to do that. She said, okay, that'll be fun. And then she goes and asks me, and I'm like, oh, now I have to tell her, because I'm like, well, I can't lie about it.
Yes.
And I figured you wouldn't care because you don't care about it.
No.
And I'm like, yeah. But she didn't freak out. She just told me to be careful.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you decided to have me over, babes.
I wouldn't, and this is a disclaimer, I wouldn't just do that for anybody.
Thank you, babes.
Maybe I'm compromising, and it's possible I'll pay for it. Because I usually wouldn't compromise like this for anybody. I wouldn't make any exceptions. Maybe
you're compromising, and it's possible you'll grow as a human being because of it.
No, I think it might be against my better judgment.
I will tell you this. I'm very glad I wasn't over here the night when I had the really bad sweats.
I was like,
because
no.
I don't think that would have gone over well in the Jaylo household.
No, I would have been like, why did you... I was like, why did you come here? You knew you were sick or that you're feeling this way. Ugh. And I wouldn't be very happy.
Oh. Well, I'm glad I'm over here now, babes.
Yes.
And I'm with my Jaylo. What's your day, Jaylo?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
We kind of watched some TV last night.
Well, kind of, and I was having some issues because part of it is because when you called me, I woke up from a nap and I wasn't quite all there.
Okay, so let me tell from my perspective, and then you could give your thoughts on it. Alana and I were talking earlier in the day, and I said, well, I know I'm not over there tonight, but why don't we watch something? And you said, okay, maybe we could watch some Star Trek. So I'm thinking maybe there's 2 episodes that I could show her, Balance of Terror and Court Martial. They're both really good from the first season. So I said to myself, well, why don't we start off with Balance of Terror and see where it goes from there? So I call you. At the time, you answered the phone. And I'm really excited. I think you're going to enjoy Balance of Terror. I put on the episode, and we watch the entire episode. It ends, and I say to you, and I'm excited because I think you're going to love the episode. It's going to give us a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm excited. And I say to you, what did you think of that episode? To which you replied with, I didn't understand it. I missed most of it. And I'm like,
well, I couldn't follow it, I said. I had a hard time following it.
I could barely hear it. I'm like, why didn't you say something?
Yeah. My phone was having some issues, but I heard it. I didn't miss too much of it, but I did hear what I was able to hear.
Yes.
And sometimes, because my phone is one of those old school phones that things don't always come out clear. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I have to call, which I should have done. I should have just called back in, hung up the phone and then called back. Because I probably would have had a better sound quality, but that was my bad.
So today, after doing this, we're going to rewatch Balance of Terror.
We are going to rewatch it.
And then give a recap.
And I will give a recap, and I will like it. I'm sure I'll like it.
I think you will. Yeah, it's the first episode with the Romulans.
That's where okay, so that's where we are introduced to the Romulans.
Yes.
Which almost sounds like Russians.
Oh my.
It almost does. So that was going on, and so we ended up watching The Twilight Zone. Do you want to give a recap of that?
I could do that.
We watched that one episode. What was it called?
I don't even know the name of it because I was just like, well, let's do a sound test, and I just picked a random episode.
Yeah. And
in some ways, honestly, and I'm not just saying this to sound bizarre, that episode reminded me of Balance of Terror.
Really?
Yes. Because and I'll tell you why. Because Balance of Terror, I believe, is based off of an old war movie.
Oh, really?
I forgot the name of it, but it's this American ship is trying to attack this German submarine in the old movie. But anyways, in the Twilight Zone episode, there is a passenger on the ship, and he's German. He's socializing with everybody. Eventually, the captain calls him to the bridge and says, hey, we just need to see your paperwork. So if you could show it to us within the next couple of days, no worries, bro. But we just want to see it, right? Mm-hmm. A German vessel comes out and attacks the ship that the German guy is on, the American ship. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the German vessel. Mm-hmm. And I believe so I actually wasn't looking at the screen because I didn't want to influence you by giving commentary, and I hadn't seen this episode.
That's okay.
So I thought, let's watch it completely without any visuals.
That's okay, yeah.
But I believe it's the captain is the German guy who is on the American ship, and he's talking to his first officer, and he's saying, we did it, we killed them, and there was women on board, and we didn't give them a warning. And his second in command says something like...
wait a minute, you're forgetting something.
What's up?
Remember with that guy, Captain Carl Lancer?
What about?
When he couldn't figure out, he didn't remember how he got on the vessel?
This is part of that. Babes.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were skipping ahead.
No.
Okay.
And his second in command says, well, do you think that's right that we killed women and we didn't even send out a warning?
Right.
The captain explains, oh, you're a dumb person, because if we would have sent out a warning, they would have told their people and sent a ship out to destroy us.
Yeah.
To which the first officer says, I've been thinking recently, we're just attacking these ships and what if we're the ones who are really suffering, and it puts us in a weird time loop to where we just keep dying over and over and over again.
Right.
And what we learn from that is that the captain, that's why he was on the American ship, is because he destroyed it without any warning.
Ah.
His punishment was he gets to live out life on the ship that was destroyed over and over
again. Because he was, and he was talking about how there was something about 1:15, the time 1:15,
which I believe is the time when the ship was destroyed.
Yeah, and it's like, we have to get off of the ship
before 1:15.
Yeah.
What did you think of this episode?
That was crazy, but very well done.
What does this episode teach us about reliving our mistakes?
That in reality we cannot relive. Well, we can relive them in a way. And we've talked about, kind of like reliving the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can relive them in a way if we keep going back to that past mistake.
If we don't let ourselves move past.
If we don't let ourselves grieve and move on. And we can talk about the interesting conversation we had about reliving the past or living in the past.
Why don't you take it, babes?
So we were talking about...
In our private podcast.
In our... the one that will never be out.
The one that... We'll put it this way. It's coming out, but not until after I'm dead. And then only to a select group of people. And as of right now, despite for the night sweats and the drowsiness, it doesn't look like I'm going to be dead too soon. So keep going, please.
Well, why don't we finish the conversation about this, and I'll go on to the what conversation we had before.
Okay, so more questions about this. There's not a lot because it's a short episode.
Yes.
I guess the other question I would have is, what does the first officer on the German ship teach us about questioning our own behavior?
Oh, you mean the one that was saying, we destroyed these people? Yeah,
and is it fair that we didn't even give them a warning?
I guess I'll ask with a different question.
Go ahead.
I'll respond with a question. Could, thinking about their decisions would have helped, right? We didn't even know exactly why. They didn't go into detail as to why they did it, right?
Oh, it makes complete sense why they did. They didn't have to go into detail.
Oh, they didn't?
No, because this is based in the 40s.
Mm.
And at that time, America was at war with Germany.
Mm.
And when you're at war, you do things that are very questionable.
Okay.
No, I'm sure not every soldier, but I'm generalizing, but I'm assuming that's why they destroyed the American ship.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not sure how to answer that question, to be honest with you.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. We're making assumptions, but the other officer is probably somebody who is questioned, why is the war going on anyways? Why do we have to be responsible for all these atrocities?
Mm-hmm.
And he's starting to look at his life in a different way because he's a little bit older. He's experienced some of what Germany has to offer.
Right.
And he doesn't know how to handle it.
Yes.
So he's at the stage to where he's at least asking these questions, and the captain represents the loyal soldier who never goes out of line and always just follows what command tells him to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that is interesting.
But what were you about to say about reliving the past in our conversation?
Yeah, so we were talking about the Before trilogy.
Yes.
And we were specifically talking about Before Sunrise.
And the reason we're talking about it is by the time this is out, it'll be over. But I'm going to be screening the film for some friends of mine on Clubhouse on Friday. So we were talking about that, and it kind of came up in our conversation, or maybe I may have brought it up, that we were talking about our past experiences, about, people liking us in the past, or vice versa. It could have been reversed. And
would it have been better if we got together with these people, or would it have been better for them and not better for us? And we kind of went back and forth with that.
Or us and not for them.
And us and not for them. Or is it a good thing that we never got with these people because their lives are completely different and our lives are different? And should we keep dwelling in the past, or should they keep dwelling in the past and not being able to move on?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were kind of exploring that, and I've thought about that over the years.
Yeah. And I told you that the other day I was thinking about how often I dwell in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually starting to think about the pilot episode of DS9 called Emissary, where it shows Captain Sisko is just reliving Jennifer's death,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So the prophets in the wormhole take him back to the point where Jennifer died, and he says, "This is part of my past."
Mm-hmm.
And they say to him, "Why do you still live here?" Implying that he never left Jennifer behind.
Why are you still here? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it's such a painful thing, and he just hasn't been able to get over it. And I get that people pine for other people as well as they grieve the loss of this person, even if they're not dead.
And think about what they could have done differently.
What might have been, what they could, yeah, exactly. And you kind of have to wonder what's going on in their head. But then I think to myself, well, I could have, I think about the people that I could have dated if I really wanted to, but was too shy to do it. Or I could think of, well, I'm with somebody right now, and right now I'm happy. Why should I go back to that?
Yes.
Reality is better than what could have happened, I think.
Well, reality is better than just dreaming about what could have been.
Yeah, because you could spend your life dreaming. You could spend all your time dreaming your life away, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, because you neglect the opportunities that are in front of you now.
Right.
And it's also, I'm going to say something that Tony Robbins says.
Oh.
Sometimes not getting what you want or what you think is best for you is actually the thing that you need the most.
Oh, so, I would say that there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, so it's like I may think to myself, well, there was this girl in high school that I was really attracted to, and why didn't I end up with her? Because by now I could have been married for 20 years. Well, maybe, but even then, maybe I would have been in a loveless marriage for like 17 out of those 20 years.
And you would not have been able to meet other people, and you wouldn't have had you may not have had the friends that you have now, and things could have been completely different.
Exactly. Or maybe life would have been better for me, but her life would have been ruined. Right?
Well, and then and then thinking about and I think about why, specifically why I couldn't be with said person that I won't mention, because, for example, there was an issue that I had because of their health. Like, they had this, somebody had this, smoking problem, for example, and I didn't like it, and it was actually a hazard to their health and my health, and I really didn't want to be with somebody that had this problem, or vice versa. Or they didn't, for example, they were all talk and no action. They never did anything to move forward with whatever they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I think about that. Sometimes it's fun to think about the past, but it's like, why should I think about it that much when I have a reality now?
There's been a few times where I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah.
And we're talking about big things. I'm not talking about buying ice cream or something.
Yeah.
Right. To have a snack. I'm talking about life change.
Right. Like a job or something?
Like a job or something, or let's just keep it in that realm. And I was very disappointed, but looking back, I can see that my life, at least seemingly, is better because I didn't get that thing.
Well, here's another example, and I'm not talking about relationships or anything now, but
go ahead.
When I was 20 years old, I don't think I mentioned this here, I was thinking about going to a missions academy. Mm-hmm. This would have been in Garden Valley, Texas, but I would have been gone 11 months out of the year, so pretty much a whole entire year almost. I didn't know how I would feel about that because I was very young and I wasn't on my own yet, and there were still some things I wanted to learn. And I called them up and I was interested. I expressed interest in being a part of this academy, but I asked a question pertaining to disabilities, and they just couldn't answer the question. It was a simple question, and they couldn't answer it. And I think somebody left me a message, and they said that they were going to check into it, but that never happened. And I decided, you know what? This door has closed. Maybe I'll look at something else. And in some ways, I'm actually glad that it didn't happen.
Is a missions academy a place for missionary study?
From what I understand, this was an academy that was a part of an organization for a mission organization.
Wow, so you wouldn't have even studied music then?
I wouldn't have studied music, no. I would have studied to be a missionary on the mission field.
I could have been dating a televangelist.
No, not like that, no. Oh. But I think I think it was good because it allowed me to do other things. Yeah. And it probably wouldn't have, I mean, I don't know how I would get along with those people, and I would have been in a state where I didn't know anyone. I don't know how I would have been treated. I don't know if I would have, if I would have been the first person with a disability in that academy. So I think it worked out for the best because there's a reason why doors close, and there's a reason why doors are open for a time and then they close. Mm-hmm. So I was okay with that.
Yeah, I also think too, in the areas to where I'm left to speculate of is my life better or not, mm-hmm. maybe some of that is because the lesson I needed to learn was respect when opportunities come to you.
Absolutely.
Because when we're younger, we just assume that, or at least I did, I'm just going to get cool things are just going to come my way all the time.
I think in some ways we do think about that when we're younger, yes. But then I notice that when I get older, it's like, get an opportunity if you really think that would be good for you, but you don't have to take every single opportunity.
No, but it is good to.
But it is good to check it out.
I mean, I know people who I've told you about who will just blow off every opportunity.
Yeah.
And they just keep getting more and more and more of them.
And there were times where I've taken opportunities, but they never happened because of the person on the other end.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I did my part, and that closes another chapter or what would have been a chapter, and I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's what you got to do, babe. Step up to the plate.
That's right. Take opportunities while you can. And if for some reason you can't take the opportunity, don't take it. That's how I see it.
Right. But do your best.
Yeah.
Live an interesting life.
Right. If it doesn't happen to you, then it doesn't happen to you, but at least you learned.
Show up.
Yeah.
Show up. Although, this was another thing I was thinking about, babes, the other day. Mm-hmm. This is, I'm going to sound like one of those people who just complains for a second.
Oh, a second. But you're not complaining all the time, right?
No. But a lot of times people say, well, 95% of success is showing up. But it feels like, for me, mm-hmm. for at least the last decade and a half, mm-hmm. I've been showing up a lot.
Yeah.
And more often than not, things end up not coming together.
It could just be on their end or whatever end you're on.
Yeah.
And also, too, part of success is failure, too.
That's true.
Part of success, I don't know any successful person that hasn't failed or hasn't had doors close on them mm-hmm. in their face. Because it does take a while, or has been in limbo. Like, I feel like I'm in limbo. I've been in limbo for a while, and it's really, it kind of feels like I'm in a plateau.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening, and it's very frustrating.
I know. I feel that same way too. And
you just kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then, and then work towards it when it's time to work towards it.
Like, I would like to partner with somebody creatively who's very good at promotion.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing that I'm not good at that at all.
I don't know anything about marketing either. It's scary. Because
mm-hmm.
it's like, well, that means I have to put myself out there. You have to put yourself out there, and you may or may not be accepted.
And it feels to me Like whenever you hear people giving advice about marketing, and this may not be the case, but I'm telling you my perception is that their advice is, well, be authentic.
But they're not authentic.
Self. Yeah, and it feels like you know me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I act when I'm doing art versus when I'm not on stage.
Yes.
I would say I'm pretty authentic.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I would agree. And I'm not just being biased about it either.
Yeah. Yeah, but I may be. But I think of myself as pretty authentic. So you would think by that, I'm authentic and I show up, that I should be seeing some results from that. But
success can take, sometimes it takes years for people. Like, I feel like I should be established right now, but things aren't. That doesn't mean that things won't happen. It's just that right now, this last year has been a major setback for both you and me and other people, and it's frustrating as all get out. But that doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen.
That's true.
It's just going to take a while. It's as people have told me that this is just a part of your story, and your story is still being written.
Yeah,
and it's not the end of your life yet. But
what's the thing that Joe Rogan says? Pretend that you're the hero in the movie that starts off with a bad life and doesn't have it together, and that this is the part of the movie where you're starting to get your life together.
Right, and people have gotten, established later in life too.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of that. I'm not extremely too young, but I'm also not old either, and it's a little bit, I'm kind of in the middle of all that, I feel. And I have to remember, people are getting to their goals no matter how old they are and no matter where they are in life. And I have to keep on remembering it, because not everybody is going to be where you are, and you're not going to be where other people are too.
No.
And it's just, I have to remember, I have to keep on reminding me and reminding me over and over again that just because you're not where you're at right now, it doesn't make you inadequate.
Yeah, it's hard not to, but don't compare yourself to other people.
Right.
It's like,
it's very, very hard. Yes.
I hate to admit this.
It's okay. Well, we might as well be honest. Right?
Okay. When Joe Biden was inaugurated, I'm not a Joe Biden fan, but this is actually not a political thing.
Good.
He had a girl do a poem there.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, you're not supposed to say this, but I'm saying it anyway. I wasn't that impressed by her poem.
Well, how old was this girl?
She was like 13.
Oh.
And I think they said that she's sort of a genius.
Oh, wow.
And
what was it about?
I don't know. I kind of zoned out during it. But I know friends of mine who said that they cried during this poem.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And these aren't necessarily super liberal people either.
Okay.
Okay. So it didn't touch me that way.
Yeah.
But part of that is too, because I've done so much poetry, I can kind of look at someone's poems and be like, you could have done this better. You could have done that better. I would have done it this way.
Yeah.
And I believe I've been doing poetry longer than this person has been alive.
Right.
So there was a part of me, and I hate to say this, that was jealous of like a 13-year-old girl.
Because this was her first time.
This wasn't her first time doing poetry, but I've been in it longer than she has. And I thought to myself, well, why aren't I up there? And that gets back to what you just said. Well, that you're comparing yourself, and that's unfair.
Right.
To both the other person, because she might be 13, but I don't know that the work that she's been putting in behind the scenes that maybe I've been neglecting.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, well, that's great. You can compare yourself to a 13-year-old and be jealous of a 13-year-old, but what's that going to do for you?
Well, and the opposite, it could be the opposite too, where you're really good at a thing. Like, I've been playing the flute since I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And, I am, unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of, both of us haven't had, any opportunities to perform in front of people, lately, but.
I actually have.
Oh,
but it's been virtually though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Virtually. But I mean, I hear people say, oh yeah, I've been playing the flute for years, or what, and they're older, they may be older than I am. Mm-hmm. And I have to remember that clearly, like, if I hear somebody playing and they're just off tune and it's just really awful and it's either too sharp or too flat, And my tendency to say, "Ooh, they were awful. I should tell them that,"
Oh.
But then I have to realize, well, wait a minute. What if they just, I mean, my first instinct would be to call them out and say, "You said that you've been playing for years. Why haven't you gotten better at this?" And I have to remember, well, wait a minute. Maybe they haven't sounded very well because they haven't played in front of people for a long time, and this is like the first time in a while that they've done it, and maybe they've been shy about it, and they've kind of been like a closeted performer.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people have done that. They have been closeted performers because they felt they weren't that great. So I have to remember that.
Yeah, it's like the shadow artist thing, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember that I was in a band class in college with a girl that didn't perform on her sax for like 10 years. And when she took the class with me, she really began to open up. And she's like, you know what? I really like performing now. And then not that long after she graduated, I heard that she was teaching sax lessons. I thought, that is so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just like, with the open mics that we were at, I feel like it was a way for me to open up again. If that makes any sense.
It does.
And I'm excited that once things are going to start to open up, that I'll have more opportunities to either play with an ensemble or play in front of people again. Because I really want to do that. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. I think whatever you do that is related to creativity, 9 times out of 10 is going to be good for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. I mean, who knows? You may even decide soon that you want to start your own podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Call it Green Jaylo and...
Flutes Are Us.
Right.
The flute room.
Yes.
The flute studio. I don't know.
Studio.
I don't think I'm going to have a podcast anytime soon, but...
Oh. But you know what I mean. It's like, I think it's good to do creative things that aren't necessarily in your own wheelhouse, because it gets your mind working in a different way.
I could also think about things that I am good at. Like, I know that people have come up to me as much as they've come to you, and they want to immediately tell them their story. Have you noticed that?
I have.
And I feel like, some, not all, feel that I'm a good listener. And, I don't always like to listen to people's stories, but if they feel like they can trust me with their story, that says a lot.
Did I ever tell you the idea I had for a podcast back in like 2011?
What was that?
So, because we're blind,
yes,
people will often come up to us, like you just said, and treat us like we're their personal therapists without money.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had an idea.
Oh no!
And we'll often get
is that
weird
what
comments.
I think? Is that what I think it's going to be?
What do you think it's going to be?
No, you just say it. I have an idea about what it might be.
I was going to buy a bunch of flannel shirts that had like breast pockets on, right? And I was going to put...
Actually, that's not what I was thinking. But...
No, listen to the idea.
Okay.
I was going to keep, whenever I left my apartment, I was going to keep like some sort of an iPod Touch. This was back in 2011.
Yes.
In my upper pocket, with the recorder turned on. And I was going to record my journeys from location to location. So if I went to the store or on the Max or whatever it was, I was going to record it. And I was going to edit the most interesting parts of the week. So if somebody yelled at me or wanted to tell me their story, it was going to end up in this podcast. I was going to call it What Rick Heard. And so like each Sunday I was going to release another episode saying, with an introduction saying, okay guys, some weirdo came up and yelled at me for being blind, and you're about to hear the audio from it. Or this lady randomly came up to me and started telling me about all the abortions he's had since he was 16.
Or this one person came up to me and was acting like they were commenting on people should do more favors for you or whatever.
Exactly.
Or patronizing you, basically.
And I got really close to doing it. I thought about the format and everything. The thing that stopped me is I wasn't sure about the legality of recording strangers without their knowledge and uploading it for public consumption.
Okay, that wasn't what I was thinking that you were going to do, because there was another idea you had, and I had a definitely a question about it.
Oh, what was the other idea?
Are you okay if I tell it here?
As long as you don't use names, you can say
no.
Here.
You pitched this idea to a friend of yours, and we both thought it was weird that you would interview somebody for this podcast, and they would give you their life story, and then at the end of the show, you would ask them about their first time.
Oh, having sex, yes.
Oh, I thought that was
I pitched that idea. So I didn't want to do it myself, right? Because, and I'll tell you why I didn't want to do it. Because my friend knows more people in the disability community. I thought that he would be a better host. So, and I know that I feel that this person might be a shadow artist.
Right.
Because they have a lot of artistic friends.
Yeah.
And they do things that are very creative, but they don't
put it out there.
Yeah, you kind of have to
put it out there.
You kind of have to know this person to
yes.
know they're creative.
Yes.
And so I had this idea. I was thinking, what could he do as a podcast? And so I thought about it. I said, you should do a podcast where you interview, and it was different people from the disability community. Wow. But you invite them over for dinner, and after dinner, you talk to them about the first time they had sex, and you release that as a podcast.
And I thought that's a horrible idea.
He said, I wouldn't want to do that, but you could possibly do something like that. And I said, no, I'm giving you this idea because I think you'd be good at it. So needless to say, it's been 4.5 years he says in the podcast.
And I thought it was a bad idea, and I told you why I thought it was a bad idea, and I'm going to say it here.
Go ahead.
He could get someone that either has not experienced that or somebody who had a horrible experience.
And my response to that, because...
And I said, no, I don't think that you should force it on people.
If somebody hasn't had sex and you find out that in the episode, then you ask them why. And maybe it's because they feel like they never deserved to be with somebody. Or maybe it's because nobody ever found them attractive. And
but it's such a personal thing, you know? It's such a personal.
I think it would be interesting.
I think this is where we differ. This is where I'm like, people should be allowed to be private about this. Yeah, I don't think people need to know about people's first times. That's how I see it.
I thought it would have been a fun show.
What if a girl was attacked and she doesn't want to relive it?
Well, then you don't.
You know what I mean?
Then maybe you call the attacker on
It's out the window.
Okay.
No, you don't call the attacker. And then you or your co-host, and then you or your co-host are sued.
Uh-oh.
You have some strange ideas.
I think they're pretty good. You like a lot of my ideas, though.
Some I do, some I really don't. Like this one is a bad idea.
I thought it would be fun.
No.
Oh.
No.
Yes. What do you think of what Rick heard? Would you listen to that?
I think I would have been a little too weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that if you're going to talk about all the weird things that sighted people do, it would be interesting to talk about it, but I don't know that it would be interesting for people to hear it.
I was really excited about doing it for like a month. And then I started thinking about, legal
in 2011?
Yes.
I don't know that would get off the ground, though.
I think I could have made it work. But we'll never know.
There was one time I didn't know this happened. I had a tape recorder in my backpack, and I took the bus from my community college at the time back home, and I didn't realize that it was recording. And I was listening to my tape, and I'm like, what is that? And it was me walking.
Nice.
It was me walking with my cane, and it was like traffic sounds, and I'm like, and it didn't come out very well, and I'm like, I gotta record over this. This is really bad. I did. Seriously, I'm like, how did that happen? I recorded myself walking across the street. I haven't recorded myself getting into the building. That was funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very strange.
Yes.
You know, one time I'm not going to say this person's name.
Go ahead.
One time I found a tape somehow in my collection, and I don't know how I got it, but my friend was like saying all these weird things on tape, and I didn't hear all of it. I'm like, this is really weird. I don't know how they got in my collection.
I don't know, babes.
It was very odd.
I told you the story about my dad, right?
You told me a lot of weird stories about your dad.
No, about my dad and the tape recorder.
No.
Did I tell that here?
No.
You sure?
No.
Okay.
Was he recording something?
Well, so what happened was, you know that I was into recording stuff as a kid because I was a weird kid.
Yes.
And like years later, I'm talking, I was probably 19. I hadn't talked to my dad in years. I'm just like pulling out some old tapes. And I found this recording that my dad and his friends must have did when he was like drugged up.
Oh, wow.
And they were just like talking about nonsensical stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, this was probably in 2001 or 2002.
Yeah.
What if I could get this digitized and post the audio on the internet?
Oh, wow.
But I never did that.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah, this was before I showed initiative in life.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. I'm glad you didn't do it.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, why is that okay?
Huh?
Why is that okay?
Well, because, your dad didn't know about it. He wasn't probably in the right mind when that happened. And despite the fact that you're not getting along with him, you probably might have been embarrassed.
Yeah, but he's still on drugs now.
Bubs, you don't know that.
He is still on drugs.
You don't know that, Bubs. You don't even know where he is.
I'm sure he's sober, even.
Bubs, come on. No, seriously. Anybody, even if you didn't like the person, that would be embarrassing.
I asked a friend about it, and he said the same thing. Basically what you're saying.
It would be embarrassing. Yeah, you gotta take that into account.
Well, I've since lost the tape, so.
Oh, good.
I lost it a couple months later.
Right.
During a move, but yes.
Okay.
So, I won't get to embarrass my dad, okay?
Okay, and I won't get to embarrass him either, okay?
Hopefully he'll be gone soon.
Oh.
And I mean from natural causes.
Oh.
It's not from anything weird.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
But I mean, that makes me think, so...
Uh-oh. He's thinking again.
No. So my dad is probably in his early 60s.
Yeah.
Which is older.
Yeah.
But in most circles nowadays in the U.S., it's not super old.
It's not as old as 80.
Right. However, if you've been doing hardcore drugs for most of your life, and
yes,
running from the cops,
and
it's a lot older.
Moving.
Yeah. It is in a way like being 90.
Because you had to grow up, so you had to like really.
Well, just because you've abused your body so much.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about that stuff.
You mean like 60 would seem older to them?
Well, what's it going to be like being a, I don't know, 80-year-old drug addict if my dad makes it that long and running from cops and,
Right.
That actually might be an interesting comedy movie.
An 80-year-old drug addict?
You could call that, what could you call that? I don't know, drug grandpa or the elderly addict.
My grandpa the druggie, my grandpa the addict or something, or
yeah, and it's about an 80-year-old guy who's running from the cops.
Or is this 80-year-old person denying that he still is an addict?
No. They're so far down. They're like my dad, to where like they're homeless and they're running from the cops.
Sounds more like a reality show, Bubs. Doesn't sound like a.
Did I ever tell you the reality show idea one of my cousins had?
Uh-oh. What would that be?
Okay, so he never did this.
Okay.
Like, let's make this perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
Well, give me an idea about. Don't mention it was anyone you knew, but just give me an idea about a basic premise.
Do you remember when bum fights was popular?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
You know what bum fights was, right?
Where where bums would be fighting?
Yeah, somebody would go and antagonize homeless people to fight each other.
Stupid idea. Yeah.
So my cousin never did this.
Yeah.
I want to make that perfectly clear, but had the idea I don't think I can give it
Okay,
away.
well, then tell me privately.
Okay, I'll tell you privately. It made me laugh when I heard the idea.
Okay.
But it's probably...
Tell me privately.
Incredibly politically incorrect now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, it's not a good idea.
That's not a good idea, babes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the cousin that you were living with at the time?
Yeah. We don't want to give too many.
No, I'm not gonna give anything out.
Good.
I'm just asking.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
I love you, babes.
I love you too.
Give me a kiss.
No.
Why not? What did I do?
No, I thought we were talking.
Okay.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. Good.
You're silly.
Good, babes. Good.
Good.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, this is a really good conversation.
Yeah, it's a shorter one, but it's good.
Really? Was it that short? It didn't seem like it was that
It's
short.
just over an hour.
Oh, okay.
We also did the private one for 3 hours.
The one that will never be put out.
Until after I'm dead.
And the one I didn't know about it until 2 hours into it.
It's funny, I go up to kiss you and they're like, Bubs, what's this? Is your phone recording? I just nonchalantly say, I'm recording this. I'm like, Bubs, what?
I caught you, Bubs. I caught you.
Babes.
Yes?
Have you been having any dreams recently?
No, I haven't. Not since the last dreams that I put in other episodes.
Well, neither have I, okay.
But I've been sleeping really well.
That's good.
So I'm very happy about that.
I am too. We are going to watch Balance of Terror.
Yes, we are.
But tonight we're also going to view some Cary Grant movies.
Oh, I'm excited.
I am too.
I am excited because I've been really enjoying watching old stuff with you because I haven't had an appreciation for it until just now.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it sucks that after this weekend we're going to go a couple weeks without movie nights, but it also gives us an opportunity to, program some strong movie nights.
Uh-huh.
Like this week was kind of put together at the last minute because of COVID and everything. It's still going to be fun.
Right. Yeah, because in the next, a little over a week and a half, I'm going to be very busy. So
with your mama.
Yes.
Yes. What?
No, I was just thinking about something.
Oh, very good, Jaylo.
Okay.
Just so we get a snack before watching Balance of Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, babes. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
No, that's all okay.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.